Thank you, Concorla. The Protection of Employees Bill 2025, a crucial piece of legislation, Insolvency Bill. Minister, we're going to start off by looking at Debenhams and how Debenhams managed to pull the wool over the government's eyes here, pull the wool over their employees and leave this country with no accountability. They started doing their UK company, a sister company. They then started doing their online. So all their online was actually being imported into this country through a UK company, which showed the books in Debenhams that it was dropping and dropping. That wasn't only done by Debenhams. That was actually done here by different companies across the country, because if you looked at even at the creamery sector, and you look at the likes of Dairy Girls and other people that tried to downsize and close down the creameries, they went on putting their stuff that farmers could book their stuff online. But if they went to their local creamery and they said, I wanted 5 tonne or 10 tonne of fertiliser, they said, that's grand, we'll book in that for you online. That did not go through the business in that area. It actually went through an online portal, which actually showed the books in that creamery to be less viable. But again, we need to make sure that that type of thing can't happen here. So we've seen it even in our own country, as well as what Debenhams done. Other major stakeholders in this country have done something similar. So if we're here to protect workers, we also need to make sure that if a person orders something online from here, and if they have a company locally, that it goes into the books in that local company, it does not show up in a sister company, that it will actually underestimate the company that's there. That's what we need to protect and make sure that workers are protected. I was just in the Senate a few minutes ago and Minister Paschal Donohoe was speaking, and something I had brought to his attention when I first came here was protecting SMEs. And Independent Ireland have been doing it since the very start. Protect SMEs. Now he's saying today, any person that employs somebody in an SME should be looked at. Yes, beneficially, they may not contribute as much as the multinational companies, but they're still wanted around this country to make sure the whole country works in its entirety. It's taken for the last 4 or 5 years for you to actually see that. And why does Independent Ireland have such a thing? Because I'm an employer. I see it myself. I see other employees in the hospitality sector where we've seen that they're trying to keep people going. But what you're seeing is legislation passed all the time, taxes changed, VAT rates changed. That only changes one thing. It changes the cost of opening the doors. It increases the wages costs, which is good. But the problem is the increase in wages doesn't go any further because everything you're buying has already been inflated. So the government need to look at the model that they're using. It's one thing increasing a minimum wage. It's one thing having extra money in your pocket. But if it doesn't get you anything extra, it's not an increase, it's actually an inflation cost, which actually costs the companies to keep their doors open. But the only person that gets more out of the inflation part of it is government spending. And then we look at the watchdog over government spending, and we look outside the bike shed. I had somebody here just a few minutes ago from the Family Resource Centre. They said, Richard, if we spend €500, we have to get 3 quotes. You can build a bike shed out here for 336,000 and it's wiped under the carpet, there's no accountability. But for €500, they have to get 3 quotes. It's not transparent. So if the government are leading with this, lead by example. If it's good enough for an employer and an employee, it has to be good enough for government to work within the same regulation.
Thank you. We now move to Sinn Féin.